All right, David Rinderly, our final guest here on the Blue Couches, Executive Director of the Erie Cemetery. We're talking a big anniversary coming up.
Yes, 175 years.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so 1850.
Yeah.
And 1846 is when the city of Erie decided to commission a cemetery outside of where all the existing cemeteries were built and move some of those people to a centrally located cemetery that could serve the residents of Erie. So there was a number of Presbyterian cemeteries, Catholic cemeteries that were all closed and moved to the Erie
And what year was
Cemetery.
that?
1846 is when they decided to do it. 1851 is when the cemetery was first commissioned. And then the very first burial was also in 1851, Alexander Brewster, who was the caretaker at the Erie Cemetery for years and years. He lived in the caretaker's home, and he lived there until he passed, and then he was buried
What
at
is
the Erie
the oldest
Cemetery.
headstone that is there?
Probably his. Yeah, and it's right by the building, and it's really not. Unfortunately, it's an unmarked grave. It doesn't really have a headstone. We all know where it is, but that's probably the oldest. Now there are some markers in there that you can't really read, and you know, some of our historians around Erie have probably done some research to try to determine who those people are.
Right.
But there's ones right by the cemetery even that they're unreadable. They're just
But
basically washed
there is so much Erie history
it's incredible.
within the cemetery, which just in and of itself is such a gorgeous piece of property.
Yeah.
So how do you plan to celebrate this huge milestone?
Well, we have events planned every month for the whole year. And starting this month, believe it or not, speaking of weather, we have tours planned starting this month for all three cemeteries. So
And
we'll do
Saturday, you've got a fun event going on as well.
Yes, we have a readings event coming up on Saturday. Second time we've done it. We did it last fall. And we have so far almost 50 people registered for this.
So that's psychic readings and then some Reiki?
Yes, and some Reiki,
That's
yes.
great.
But I always think it's great to experience the cemetery, of course, in the gorgeous summer months. It's beautiful in the fall, but winter gives it a certain allure as well with a fresh coat of snow.
Yeah, it
Do
has
you
a
find
whole
lot of
new
people
look.
out enjoying it in the winter?
No.
We waited until it looks like that, yeah.
No, as a matter of fact, the last couple of weeks, cemetery's been closed.
Oh, okay.
We've had to close the gates. It's dangerous. We don't salt or cinder in the cemeteries, so it gets
It is very hilly, yeah.
very hilly and super icy.
And limbs could fall
And
with
limbs
the heavy
and
snow.
trees and with the wind and the snow.
So where is the event happening Saturday?
It's actually at the Erie Cemetery office building.
Okay.
10 o'clock. And we're kind of doing two different sessions, one in the morning and one in the
Do you have to register ahead of
afternoon.
time?
You do. And we had information out there to call Becky Weiser or send an email. If you just show up, we might be able to
Try to accommodate.
accommodate,
Yeah.
but we had kind of a limited number.
Yeah, try to register.
spots,
And where do
so.
they do that? They just call the cemetery office?
Yes, they can call, they could email, or stop in, you know,
Yeah.
if you're in the neighborhood.
And there's the website there as well if you'd like more information. But
Yes.
joyful readings and good vibes, psychic reading, and some Reiki, all happening Saturday starting at 10 a.m. there at the office.
And before we run out of time, a quick preview of a couple of the other events coming up.
Well, we're doing our big Dining with the Departed again in the summer.
Yes.
We had 250 people at that last year. We sold it out.
Yeah.
We couldn't accommodate. This year we're hoping to double that.
That's neat.
To about 500.
Yeah.
So that's the big one.
Sounds like a great event.
Yeah, that we're geared
All right.
up for.
Thanks
so.
for stopping in.
Yeah,
We
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me. I
Yeah, come back when
appreciate
you've
it.
got more of those events to talk about.
Yes,
with
thank
us.
you. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back.